Welcome to the Scalable Marketing Machine Podcast. I'm your host, Victoria Hadjar, marketing consultant for female founders and creator of the Scalable Marketing Machine Accelerator. I've helped dozens of women grow and scale their businesses from 6 to 7 figures and beyond, helping founders like you to implement my proven growth system that focuses on brand communication, marketing strategy, building your lean team, and leadership. On this podcast, we talk all about what it takes to get to the next level in marketing and in life, focusing on practical, tactical advice that will help you grow your business and explode your revenue. Are you ready to learn? Let's dive in. Let's talk about the key to converting prospects into paying customers, and that is promotional campaigns. Are you executing consistently promotional campaigns throughout the year that help to get your warm, nurtured audience, the folks that are following you on social media, the folks that are in your email list, the folks that are in your prospect list, and giving them a little bit of an extra push to actually convert, to book that sales call or demo, to actually finish that purchase with you. Promotional campaigns is sort of the thing that we have up our sleeve that's going to help to move people into action. And so I really want you to think about strategically, intentionally designing a promotional calendar for the year, one that is closely related to your quarterly theme, which is something that we talked about last week, which we'll review in a minute, because this is the cherry on top. This is where all of the pieces of marketing really come together to create that ROI, right? How are we moving people into action? And promotional campaigns is the way that we do that. So when I talk about a promotional campaign, let's be a little bit clear. A promotional campaign is really going to be a designed creative that we put through email, that we put through social media posts, that even we can be announcing through, our sales team, of a bit of news, either a discount or a promotion that's like a free gift or free shipping or a free added bonus XYZ LMNOP, or it could be that you're launching something new, right? Or that you've improved or upgraded or enhanced or whatever. But we need points throughout the year where we are touching base with people and getting them excited and invigorated about our brand and what we do, and really excited about purchasing with us. And the way that we do that is by offering something, right? Or by sharing something new. And we need to be designing these moments throughout the year that we can sort of, again, engage with this audience and get them excited, right, about buying with us. And we do that through promotional campaigns. So the way that I organize this in my mind when I'm running it for clients or when I'm teaching marketers, because again, you're listening to me because what I hope that I do is make marketing feel easier, right? Systemizing, organizing marketing, because marketing can feel incredibly unwieldy. And that's where the stress and overwhelm come in. But when you have systems in place and some guardrails, some goalposts on what you're doing, it becomes much easier. The quality becomes much higher. But what that guardrail, those goalposts do for you is actually gives you this creative freedom, right? Actually gives you the ability to really worry only about expressing the creativity and doing something that is going to be interesting, not worrying about all of the other details, right? So a lot of times working within frameworks and guidelines are what give you that freedom to be creative, because you don't have to worry about the mechanics of it. You don't have to worry about the tactics of it. So that's why, as many templates and systems that I can share with you guys, I believe that's really unlocking the key to having success in your marketing efforts. And so if you go back to last week's episode, we were talking about nurture, right? I gave you a framework for how I like to think about creating the content strategy for your marketing. And I advised you guys to divide, this is what I do, right? Divide the quarters up by themes and create a theme that's related to whatever your prospect is going through at that particular time of year. Most of our businesses have seasonality of some kind. And the seasons can kind of relate to like our cultural seasonality that we have with holidays and fiestas and whatever, things like that. Or could relate to like big things that happen in industries, right? So, conferences and big events or big announcements or big changes that happen throughout the year, this is where you want to plan your content calendar around, right? So we want to identify some certain themes that's going to relate to like what's on the mind of our prospects at that point of time. And then we want to create content that's related to those themes, right? And we can create blogs, we can create social posts, we can do all sorts of things. The other bit of creative that I want you to be doing is creating a promotional campaign. Now, I do want to stress that promotional campaigns does not mean you need to be giving away things for free. You don't have to be giving massive discounts away. On the contrary, I think, if you have a high ticket or high value product or service, we want to be discounting and doing sales as very conservatively. We don't want to train our audiences to be waiting for sales, right? But there's plenty of other things that you can be doing to build a campaign that does not revolve discounts. And this could be, again, highlighting a feature of your product or your service. This could be announcing a new aspect or new development or an improvement or an upgrade of your service or product, right? This could also be around, maybe giving away some resources, not discounting your thing, but you could be giving away free resources or teaching a workshop or something, or holding an event, something that's going to reinvigorate our audiences. And we want to attach that to whatever the theme or whatever content is going on in that particular quarter. This is, again, where that power of all of the marketing things that we do really come together. And I always love to share with this visual with people is that the marketing you do, it's like your fist, right? And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see my video. You've got your 5 fingers, right? And these represent the different things that you're doing with marketing. And, you've got your website, you've got your blog, you've got your social content, you've got all these things are what your fingers represent. And, you can kind of give someone a high five and you can have that kind of force and power of what you're doing when your hands are all spread out, right? And kind of not working together. But think about when you make a fist and everything comes together to work together and how much harder that punch is, right? And how much more dangerous you can be with a punch than a slap. That's what we want to think about for our marketing. And when we bring together our quarterly themes, our regular daily content we're putting out, and our quarterly campaigns, well, then everything starts to make sense. And the redundancy of that message throughout that quarterly theme is going to help implant in our prospects' minds who we are, what we do, and how we serve. Because nowadays, to stand out in this noisy marketplace that we're in, right? Every vertical saturated now, it feels like. The way that we stand out is that we have to, on a consistent basis, be showing up with a consistent message. That's the only way that people are going to make the click in their minds. Okay. There's over the years, I've always followed the statistic where, before it was someone has to see your brand and hear about what you do 10 times before they really make a connection and it really registers in their brain, right? They need that repetitiveness of hearing that sales pitch and really seeing your tagline and your name of your business and really understand what you do. Nowadays, with just the influx of information that we have, that is more 20 or 30 touch points that we need to be giving our prospects in order for them to register, right, what we do and how we serve them. And so a way that we can do it is making sure that the content we share and the campaigns that we run, it's everything fits together, right? That's that fist that I was referring to. So how many campaigns that we should be running? One thing that I've seen in my own experience is that if campaigns are not strategically planned and well thought out and connected to, telling a story of all the content that's happening in that quarter, in that period of time, is that, it doesn't tend to be very effective. To run a really good campaign, right, we need to think of it in a couple phases. And I'm going to break down the phases, but as you're listening to this, I want you to realize doing one really good promotional campaign per quarter is sufficient. It's sufficient. Now, yes, if you're a product-based business and there's holidays that are really important to your business and they come a couple weeks apart from each other, but I've seen in product-based businesses when you're running the Mother's Day special, the Valentine's Day special, blah, 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 people tune out, right? And so the more measured and discerning you can be from when you run campaigns, the more your audience is going to pay attention. And so looking at a 8-week to 12-week period for running your promotion is, in my experience, more effective than running 2 weeks of this one and then a couple weeks later, 2 weeks of this one. People tune out. So how do we stop them from tuning out? Well, we design a campaign that goes through different phases. And these phases are intended to grab people's attention, bring them into a story, get them excited, build anticipation. And so when it finally is revealed that, open cart or, sign up for the thing or the product drop or the service is available, get off the wait list is open, then we have people's attention and they're excited to convert. This is what the objective of building an effective promotional campaign can do for us. So how do we do that? Well, we look at, again, building out these phases. So we have a pre-launch. Now, this vernacular comes from one of my mentors and coaches, that is Jeff Walker. And Jeff Walker developed something called the product launch formula. And the product launch formula is basically just a framework for how you run promotional campaigns. How do you launch anything in your business, right? Launch a product, launch a service, launch a bit of news. It's a framework that helps you do that. And so you work through different phases. First is the pre-launch phase. We've got pre-launch, the pre-launch, the launch, and the post-launch. These 4 distinct phases. And each of these phases have a purpose. The first phase, which is the pre-launch phase, is where you want to be designing content. So this means your emails that go out, your social content that goes out, is all about piquing people's interest, sparking their curiosity. We're not telling them what's coming. We're just dropping some hints that something is coming, right? And in this phase, it's also really useful to start getting folks involved. This is where we're sending polls, we're sending surveys, we're asking questions as it relates to the campaign that you're about to run, right? Just planting the seeds for what's to come. That's in the pre-launch. In the pre-launch phase, this is where we're really explaining what the promotion is all about and building up to when that moment is going to be available for them to purchase. So the pre-launch period, which can be, about 2 weeks in and of itself, is just saying, hey, this is what we got going on. This new thing's going to drop, or this new service, or we have an announcement, and we start really sharing the information of what that promotion, the meat and potatoes of what that promotion is all about, and then giving a date, a specific date, a deadline for an event, for the thing to be available to purchase, for the wait list to be open, whatever it may be. Or this could also look like, hosting a webinar or hosting a workshop, something like that. The pre-launch phase gets us to that moment. And then once that moment has passed, right, that date or the event happened or whatever, then we're in sort of the open cart moment. And then we move into pushing for that conversion, pushing for the sales until the time that cart closes or that event ends, or, the moment has passed pretty much. And then we go into the post-launch phase where we're gathering information that helps us understand if anyone that didn't purchase, why they didn't purchase, right? And this could be done through surveys. It could be done through emails. We could be doing it in a more measured way where we're just looking at the folks that seemed really involved, like that in terms of they were clicking, they were opening the emails, they were getting to the emails with the website, they didn't complete the purchase. We can do some really pointed communication with them and say hey, we saw you were really into this campaign we just did, and we can see from the data you were really into it, but you didn't purchase. What stopped you? You don't have to do that on a massive scale, but if we do that a little bit, we'll be able to do what's part of this last phase as marketers, where we really should be doing a review of the campaign. And sometimes in business, we call this a post-mortem. Some people don't really like that phrase, but we do a post-mortem and we really look at the data and we're like, okay, how did that campaign go? Because remember, the most important part about marketing is iterating and improving, right? Testing, iterating, improving. And campaigns is just that. So each quarter, our idea should be, how can we run the best campaign that that we possibly can. And then from the results and the data, just keep making it better and better and better each and every time. That is our most important function of marketing, right? And because this moment of campaigns, which sits inside the invite phase of the 24/7 marketing flywheel, which is sort of the bigger framework that we're building our marketing strategies around. This is the invite phase. It's a critical phase for getting those conversions. So it will behoove us to really be paying attention to this process and iterating every time. But the thing is, it can't be a constant process because we need to be very careful in when we do these bigger sales pushes to our audience. Because if we do it too often, they tune us out, or they could get kind of pissed off and just end up unsubscribing, folks that are interested in what we do, but maybe they're just not ready. We want to be very careful not to burn out our lists, right? So my question for you, my question to leave you with here is, do you have a system that's consciously designed around the times of years and the moments that you're running promotional campaigns? And then have you designed the content of those campaigns to really be connected to your what's really going on in the lives of your prospects, right? And if not, I invite you to do so. And if you need any help doing that, I'm happy to help you. Please send me a DM on LinkedIn. I'm Victoria Hajar on LinkedIn. That's where I spend most of my time. I'm happy to give you some tips and tricks of the trade on how you can build out a stellar promotional campaign for yourself. Come back here next week, because after you made the sale, your marketing job is not done. In fact, it could only just be beginning. We're going to be talking about the delight phase and the advocate phase. These are the two last phases in the purchasing cycle where we want to make sure that we're delivering an amazing experience and building that army of raving fans so we can leverage the most important, most effective form of marketing, which is word of mouth marketing. So I'm going to teach you just how to do that, and I'll see you back here next week. You did it. You made it to the end of the episode. Thanks for sticking around with me and listening all the way to the end. I really appreciate you as an audience member, and I hope that you found this helpful. If you did like this episode, it would mean so much to me if you subscribed, if you rate and review this podcast. It helps other people know that this podcast has something worth saying. It also would be super awesome if you could take a screenshot and share on Instagram and tag me at Ugly Ventures, UGLI Ventures, VENTURES. I am always so appreciative to hear from you, and I hope to see you back here next week